Yeah, really excited to participate in the Music City Bowl. Our team has had an excellent week of practice so far and done a really, they're really excited about the opportunity to play. We spent last week and the weekend really on developmental practices, working on fundamentals and continue to sharpen our techniques and fundamentals. And we've transitioned into preparing for Iowa. You know, when you have a bowl game, location, bowl gifts, and the opponent is what really sets up for a really good bowl game. And this has all three. Obviously, Coach Ferentz, have a tremendous amount of respect for him and what he's done with the Hawkeye program. I think he's 26 years as the head coach. Model of consistency and development. Does an excellent job with player identification and development. Their defensive coordinator, we were joking, he's been there since 1998. That's older than most of our team, or more years than or most of our players, and runs the same system. Very disciplined, very detailed on the defensive side of the ball. New offensive coordinator. Obviously, they battled some injuries, but very sound in what they do on the offensive side of the ball. Special teams is consistent, so it's going to be a real difficult challenge for us to play. Obviously, location. What a wonderful place to be, Nashville. Awesome stadium, Nissan Stadium. Our fans, and I know Iowa fans will travel, so it'll be a big time environment. I know we already sold out our ticket allotment, have asked for more, so very excited about the venue. And then bowl gifts. Showed the bowl gifts to our players today. It's a point system, and they get to pick, and some really cool stuff. So I know our team is excited to play, and we're ready to go down there. Now we'll finish out this week, and then we'll give our players 3 days off so they get to go home and celebrate Christmas, be with their families the 23rd, 24th, 25th, and that's really important to us as a staff to allow our players to be home for the holidays. And then come back, we'll be back the 26th, we'll get a practice here, we'll travel the 27th, and then play on the 30th. Had two opt-out, or a couple of opt-outs so far. Obviously some of the guys who have announced that they're entering the transfer portal have decided to move on early and have left. And then we've had 3 opt-outs. Obviously Luther Burden, Armand Nimbu, and Chuck Hicks will not participate in the football game. We wish them well in their careers. They left the right way. Very, we will definitely miss them, but it is an opportunity for other people to step up and play. Brett Norfleet had a surgery that needed to be done, and so we went ahead and did that right after the last game against Arkansas. So he will also be out for the bowl game. He will not play, but have total confidence in Tyler and Jordan to pick up the slack there. And I think that's it. I'll let y'all ask any specifics you want. So from that, I'll take questions.
Coach, dealing with the transfer portal for a few years now, does it get any easier as the years go by, or are you still learning or encountering like new situations?
Yeah, I mean, you encounter and deal with new situations. Obviously we had somebody enter the transfer portal and 7 hours later they had committed and signed paperwork to somewhere else. That's a new situation, so you learn to adjust and deal with those things. So I think the one thing that I've come to grips with is, and I've talked to the team about this, I'm very confident in our foundation of our program, who we are, what we're about, the process that we've shown, the development that we've shown players, the people who have consistently stayed here, even the transfers that come in, what the final product will be. And so I'm confident in that process, and I'm confident that if people choose to leave, there'll be others choose to come and embrace what we're doing here. And I'm confident that if they do, there's a solid foundation of what our program is about.
Is there a sweet spot in terms of, retention, transfers, and freshmen that you're finding?
No. Every situation is uniquely different. Anybody hear that music?
Yeah. We heard it earlier before you came in. We don't know where it's at.
Is it on a computer? Anyway, every situation is different. We had a plan going into this, but you have to try to retain your roster based on the salary cap that you have. based on your perceived needs, and that may not be the perceived, we have a perceived value of what our players are, and that may not be their perceived value, which makes them maybe wanna go in portal, so, which is constantly evolving, so there's no perfect solution to all of it, and, the one thing I would say about this whole situation is it's not our players. Don't be mad at the players. Do not be mad at the players one bit. It's not, this whole situation is not their fault at all. Don't hate the players, hate the game. That's, at the end of the day, it's the system that's, there is no system. And so when there's no system, then people will do what they need to do. And so not mad at any of the players, totally understand it from their perspective, wish them well. Just know that we have a great system here. We have a great product here. We have great opportunity here. And that's what you've seen with the 4 commitments that we've had so far. Really good 5 commitments that we've had so far. Really good players that fit our system, know exactly what they're getting.
Yeah, okay. Along those lines, I guess I'll just ask Tom Blank, do you suspect tampering in the case of any of the 3 freshmen that have decided to transfer out?
I don't know. I really don't care. I haven't seen anything done about it anyway, so why would I complain about it? So, don't care, don't worry about it. It is what it is, and if somebody wants to go, there's the John Wooden line, love you dearly, miss you greatly. We'll be all right, and they'll be all right too. They're all really good players. So, was called on one of them, and asked about, and absolutely told that coach, you should sign him as quickly as possible. He's an unbelievable player, and he'd do a great job for you.
Coach, just with those freshmen, what's your reaction when you have a guy who's been around 1 year and decides to go?
You mean 6 months?
Or
You mean
6 months, yeah.
You mean 6 months? That's my reaction. I just, again, I wish I could convince them that Darius Robinson had to wait really 3 years. There's no such thing as an overnight success anymore. It doesn't matter how highly you're recruited or how low you're recruited, or none of that matters, man. Just get in there and continue to do the work, and that's what I regret. I think everybody when they come into college football faces a level of adversity that they have to overcome. But I just wish they would understand that there's no such thing as an overnight success, and whether you're talking about Luther Burden, I very vividly remember traveling home after the Arkansas or Auburn game, and him taking all this stuff down off social media and having to deal with that for about 36 hours, and he stayed, put in the work, stayed the course, and was All-American the very next year. Whether you're talking about Ennis Rakestraw, Chris Abrams-Drain, JC, Isaiah McGuire, Javon Foster, Brady Cook, Cody Schrader, they've all faced a level of adversity and continue to fight through. And I just wish 6 months. I just think that's a really short time period to give a program. But again, everybody's got their own journey. Core value for number 4 for us is enjoy the journey. And if 6 months was all that journey was, then I hope I know they made us better. I know they left a positive impact here with us, and I hope that we did the same for them, and we wish them well.
When you talk about the salary cap component of this, how much do you start to kind of view it as, when you're bringing guys in, especially early in their careers, as like, this is an investment that maybe could just go away in 6 months when free agency hits?
Yeah, that music is really distracting.
I don't log in. Sorry,
That's okay. It's all right. I guess it is. I'm to the point now where it is what it is, and until who's in charge of college football? So what good does it do me to complain? I don't know who's in charge. So coaches we can vent or say what we want to say, but there's nobody in charge. So until there's people that are in charge, we're wasting our breath, and you just gotta adapt to it. I worry that the game that I love and have dedicated 30 something years of my life to is slowly getting taken away from us.
Is there almost a paralysis in the industry after 40 years of rules that now nobody wants wants to say, here are some rules that we need?
I mean, there's paralysis based off of perceived lawsuits, there's paralysis based off that there's a perceived settlement that's gonna solve everything. And I operate in a system that I operate in the real world that says neither one of them are gonna solve anything. And again, I don't know who's in charge. You know. We fixed feigned injuries, you know, but the transfer portal and all the other stuff, we don't even touch, so.
If you were in charge, what's kind of the first step you would take, I guess?
I'm not in charge, and I don't have any idea on what the system should be. I just know that I keep coming back to, we have a great foundation in place, and it starts with knowing what our goals are, what our core values. We got an unbelievable athletic performance team. When you talk about Ryan Russell and his Elite Edge program, and Liz and Zach, you talk about Mike, you talk about Tammy Chivas in our academic department. I know we have a great program that's gonna take care of kids. We're gonna challenge them to be their personal best. And we're gonna give them an opportunity to play at an elite level in front of the best fans in college football that have sold out 13 straight home games. So I don't know what the future should be and all that. I just know we have a great place here.
Coach, you guys made a big splash getting Kevin Coleman as your first edition.
How awesome was that?
What do you like about his game, and what can he provide for his team?
I mean, he's a dynamic playmaker. I mean, first year in the SEC, had 900 yards. He was the leading receiver in the SEC at one point, third team All SEC. He was the SWAC freshman of the year at Jackson State. I mean, went to St. Mary's, won a state championship in high school with Jamal. So we know he's a dynamic playmaker, ball in his hand. We're losing a pretty good slot wide receiver that wears number 3, and we just said, who's the best number 3 slot wide receiver we could go get? And it happened to be Kevin Coleman. So really excited about what his game is and what he'll bring to our team and explosive nature. And, he's a genuine young man. I really enjoyed spending time with him and his family when they came on their visit. And, he is a great young man, great work ethic, got a great competitive spirit and vibe to him. We know that playing against him. So I'm glad he's on our team now.
Coach, I kind of got a follow up to that, but by just getting him in the portal at receiver, are you comfortable with letting the rest of the receivers battle it out? I think you got like 6 4-stars on here, so you're kind of ready to let the young guys go and give them a chance for a starting role?
Look, at the end of the day, number 1 core value is always compete. And the thing that I've learned in this portal is that it's not my job to give anybody starting positions. My job is to create competition and let everybody work to be the best version of themselves, and those guys will earn their roles. And I think Marquise and Josh Manning are great examples of that, of working every single day to keep getting better, run your own race. I think Josh is a really good example. Had the best spring game MVP. Still didn't quite have the role that maybe he wanted this year. Obviously now with people leaving, he's going to have a great role in the bowl game. Made some big time catches for us this year. And so my job is just to give guys opportunities. It's their job to take advantage of it.
How do you have to approach this from a year-to-year roster evaluation standpoint, where some guys that might be big pieces in the puzzle 3 years down the line, you don't know at all what their future is?
Yeah, I think everybody has to get rid of that mindset and understand that we're a 6-month free agent business, and every 6 months there's free agency, and you do the very best you can to build the roster you can with that kind of mindset, or with that kind of thinking. But that old style of thinking of, hey, I'm gonna have 85 scholarships and I'm gonna recruit four deep at each position, and once this guy leaves, then the next guy comes. That's not really realistic anymore. Our job is to build the best team that we can, so that when we start spring practice in April, we have the best or in March, we have the best team possible, knowing that in April, there's another free agency period, and your team could look drastically different. So, I would just caution everybody, including Mizzou Twitter, that it's really gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. We value production over potential, and that's gonna be a key driving force for us in the decisions we make with player acquisition and player development. So, it is what it is.
Eli, with the 2 linebackers you guys are able to bring on, what did you like about, what they'll bring to this program, and how important for you was it to bring a couple linebackers in?
Yeah, obviously Makai, has played in 25 games, 15 career starts, has 73 tackles. You know, this year he had 49 tackles, was an All-American candidate at Sports Illustrated. You know, played a really tough, good physical nature at Nebraska and was a really big time get for us. And then obviously Josiah Trotter, who was the Big 12 Defensive Freshman of the Year. And so very excited about what he brings to the table. He had 92 tackles, 4 TFLs, an interception, 5 quarterback pressures. Both of those guys are gonna have an opportunity to come in and compete. Obviously we'll be getting Khalil back off injury. Very excited about Nick and JB and Brian, and so that room, you know, with those additions, turns into a real strength for us at a position that got dinged up with injuries pretty early. And so, you know, for us building a roster to be competitive in this league, you know, you have to have competitive depth, and then you gotta allow young guys to grow into their opportunity.
With Trotter, you mentioned the importance of production at a certain level. When you see the kind of production he had, what does that tell you about how he plays?
Well, that's the thing. You know, the production on tape is easy to identify. Obviously, there'll be a transition moving from the Big 12 to the SEC, but he's made of the right stuff. He's got the size and the framework. He's got the mentality. You can tell he loves football and prepares the right way. Just meeting with him, so we're excited, thinking that it's an investment and a really good player.
Coach, when it just comes to quarterback, whether it's gonna be somebody in the program or who's currently outside of it, just what are you kind of looking for traits-wise, on field, off field, as far as what you want to have in your quarterback room entering spring ball?
Toughness, preparation, decision-making, accuracy, and leadership are the 5 characteristics of elite quarterbacks, and it's been that way since I've been here, and it's not gonna change. Quarterbacks come in all different shapes and sizes. You can talk about MVP Lamar Jackson, or you can talk about Tom Brady. You can talk about Pat Mahomes, or you can talk about Josh Allen. You can talk about Brock Purdy, or you can talk about Bo Nix. They're all a little bit different, but the characteristics that are the same is they're tough, both physically and mentally. They prepare the right way. They're very good decision makers with the ball in their hand. They don't put the ball in jeopardy. They don't lose football games because of the decisions they make. They're accurate throwing the football. You know, there's no defense for the perfect throw. And so you gotta have guys who can accurately throw the ball down the field. And then leadership components, you know, are they a group of guys that people wanna be around and want to play hard for? You look at the best quarterbacks that Mizzou's had, and they've had those characteristics. You look at Brady Cook, he's got those characteristics. So that's what we look for, that's what we evaluate. And again, you know, I feel confident that every day I lay my head on the pillow and after I say my prayers, I'm thinking about, all right, are we doing everything we can to put this team in a position to compete for a championship, and how do I build a roster in order to do that? And if we need to add a quarterback, we will, and if we don't, we don't. I really feel confident that we have really good players in that locker room, and they all understand that if we feel like we can add a player to create competition, to bring the best out of everybody in the brotherhood, that we'll do that. But it's not, yeah, I think I answered that question.
Coach, where is Sam Horn in his recovery process right now? And
Yeah.
do you expect him to be ready for spring ball?
Yeah, so Sam is 11 months post-surgery, had a follow-up after the first week in December, which was the first opportunity that he had to begin throwing a football. He went to a well-renowned surgeon, well-renowned surgeon who does and majors in UCL surgeries, the Tommy John surgery, and we followed that breakdown, or that rehab to a T between Zach Parker, our trainer, the baseball trainer. You know, we were adamant we did it right. Sam was present every day, here for meetings, practices, you know, would alternate on which days he could throw 3 days a week and just kind of built up his arm. He's now in the rehab phase, where he can throw a little bit, but he's not medically cleared to fully participate in practice, and would not be able to fully participate in the game, so we will not see Sam Horn in game. But he has been able to go and ramp up his throwing, and we like everything we've seen so far. And yes, he does plan on participating in spring, and he does plan on participating, well, I mean, he's planning on doing both, which is why he signed here. So, and Coach Jackson and I have a great relationship, and we've worked out a plan in place, and we've got a plan in place that'll allow him to be fully involved in baseball when it's time for baseball, but also in spring ball, be fully involved in spring football. So feel confident in our plan, and we'll go from there.
Anything else for Coach? Great, thank you.
Appreciate you, Coach.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Coach.